Hey, let me show you how to use those sum angle formulas using 75 as my example. 75 is 45 and 30. If you put the 30 first, that is fine. Sine of a pair of angles that are being added together, use the formula where you say the sine of the first, the cosine of the second one, plus the cosine of the first, and the sine of the second one. We'll drop in ratios, we'll drop in fractions for those. Sine of pi over 4 is radical 2 over 2. Cosine of pi over 6 is radical 3 over 2, plus cosine of pi over 4, and the sine of pi over 6. I have 2 times 2 on the bottom of those two groups. That'll be 4. Always have the same denominator. Radical 2, radical 3, and radical 2 times of 1. And there is your sine of 75. Cosine. And that formula goes like this. You'll take the cosine of the first, the cosine of the second one, minus the sine of the first, and the sine of the second. The exact same fractions, just in a different combination. Radical 2 over 2, radical 3 over 2, minus another radical 2 over 2, and a half. 2 times 2, 2 times 2 on the bottom of both will leave me with a 4. We have radical 6. This time, take away radical 2. Tangent of 75. Now, since I've done sine and cosine, I could just take those two answers and stack them. I'm going to use the formula, though, for tangent. It'll be the tangent of the first plus the tangent of the second one divided by 1 minus the product of those two tangents. Tangent of pi over 4 you should know is a 1. You might not know the tangent of 30. 30 degrees is here as a point. That's radical 3 over 2, comma, a half. When you put the y on top of the x, the sine on top of the cosine, your 2's will cancel. And as soon as you rationalize that, you'll have radical 3 over 3 over 1 minus those two little rascals multiplied together. And you need the room for tangent. I'm going to multiply those together first. I'm going to get rid of this first. And here I go. 1 plus radical 3 over 3 over 1 minus radical 3 over 3. Let's get rid of the 3's. Multiply everything by 3. Let's get rid of that radical on the bottom by multiplying top and bottom by the conjugate of the bottom. Just a quinky-dinky that is the top. That's not what's supposed to happen. It's the conjugate of the bottom. Same terms, different signs here. Up on top, I'm going to FOIL. 3 times 3, 3 times the radical 3. The radical 3 times the 3, the radical 3 times the 3. On the bottom, 3 times 3. I'm going to do full FOIL. 3 with the radical 3. The negative radical 3 with the 3. And you see how those will cancel. The negative radical 3 and the radical 3 will make negative 3. On top, we're going to have 12 plus 6 radical 3. On the bottom, these will cancel. 6. And thank goodness we are finished after we reduce. Hey,